Good day everyone. So before we dive into the technicalities of Rule 34, let us first reflect on this simple yet powerful question. How does a local government transform plans into actual programs and aspiration into a real services for its constituents? Now, the answer lies in one critical process. That process is what we call budgeting. Budgeting at the local government level is more than just a number. It is a legal and strategic process that reflects the priorities, the goals, and the vision of a certain community. It determines which sectors ang makareceive og supports, which programs ang i-sustained, and then how can the welfare of the people in that particular community improve. So today I will be discussing a key portion of this process together with my partner, which is si Miss Makilan. This provision laid down on the framework for the preparation, authorization, execution, and accountability of the local government budget. This portion of the law may seem procedural at first glance, but in reality, it sets the foundation for good governance, transparency, and responsive in public service. So let us now examine this article, starting with the Article 404. It states that this rule shall cover the budgeting operation of provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangay. Now, this article tells us one important truth, that no local government unit is exempted. Whether we are dealing with a highly urbanized city or a small barangay in a rural area, the principle and the rules of budgeting apply to everyone, or apply equally and consistently. It reminds us that every peso spent by a local government, no matter how big or no matter how small it is, it must go through a legal process that begins with this rule. So with that foundation, let us proceed to Article 405. After knowing the scope, we now move to the heart of the Rule 34, which is the Article 405, which outlines the fundamental principles that should guide the entire local government budgeting process. Now, these principles are not just theoretical, they are practical rules of conduct designed to ensure that the budgeting is done wisely, legally, and ethically across all local government units, whether it be a barangay or whether it be a province. Each principle it speaks volume about what good governance should look like. So let me now explain each one in a deeper and more practical manner, starting with the A. The national planning shall be based on local planning. So this principle highlights the idea that the real development begins at the grassroots level. So the national government agency or NGAs must consider the needs, the plans, and the priorities of the local government units when preparing their own budget. Why? Because LGUs are closest to the people. So they understand what their community truly needs, kung sa jud ang need, whether it's access to a clean air or better roads or livelihood programs. Ignoring the local planning would result in programs that are irrelevant or disconnected from a real life situation nga nahitabo sa ilahang community. Next is local budget plans and goals must be harmonized with the national goals. Tama. So while the local must be heard, it must also align with the bigger picture. This principle encourage coordination, not conflict. LGUs and the national government should work together, not against each other, so that the public funds are used efficiently. For example, if both local and national government plans to build a healthcare in the same barangay, harmonization can avoid duplication and wastage of resources. Next, the C. Local budgets shall be based on functions, activities, and projects which expected results. So budgeting must be a results oriented, not just a activity based. So LGU must not just list expenses, but they must connect each peso to a goal or outcomes. Now this shift the focus from spending to achieving impact. For instance, if ang feeding program should not just be budgeted for food, it should also aim to reduce malnutrition by a certain percentage within the year. Next, we have a budget should incorporate the needs of components, LGUs, and ensure equitable resources allocation. So this is especially relevant for provinces which oversee the municipalities and barangays. The budget must be fair and must reflect the real needs of each area. Richer LGUs should not be favored over poorest ones. So dapat equity, which means that giving more to those who need more, no? To level the playing field and reduce inequality across communities. We are now in E. Budget must be operationalized development plans. Now, in simple terms, if it's not in the development plan, it shouldn't be in the budget. If wala siya sa giplan, no, wala dapat po siya budget. So, these principles ensures that the budgeting is a goal-driven and strategic, no, not just a reactive. So the development plan serves as the LGU's roadmap, and the budget is the fuel that powers the journey of that development plan. Without this alignment, no, programs becomes disorganized and short-sighted. Para sa anong sa ang mga SK naman sila si BYDP or ginatawag nga kanang murag plan na nila nga mo nilang target nga mga plan sa isa ka sa 3 years, and then kana nga plan nga gibutang dara mao ra jud dapat na ang budgetan. So kung saang naasa yung development plan, mao ra pud ang dapat budgetan. Next is no money shall be paid out of the local treasury except in pursuance of an appropriation ordinance or law. So this is a matter of legality. Public funds cannot be spent arbitrarily, no. Every disbursement, no, must have a legal authority, usually in the form of an appropriation ordinance passed by the sanggunians. Now, this ensures that spending is transparent, spending is planned, and then dapat approved siya by the people's representatives. Next is LGU shall endeavor to have a balanced budget in each fiscal year of operations. So, a balanced budget means that not spending more than what you earn. This principle teaches fiscal discipline. It avoids debt, ensures sustainability, and builds financial resilience. So the LGU are encouraged to be more practical and more wise in estimating both revenues and expenditure. Lastly, we have H. All local government funds and monies shall be spent solely for public purposes, of course. This is the moral backbone of budgeting. No, public funds must never be used for private gain, dapat, or for personal benefits or political interest. No, every piso nga gispent mo ana should be benefit kanang maka-benefit ana ang community, not an individuals or kanang na mga personal benefits. No, this principles protects the integrity of public service. Nanata sa I, trust fund in the local treasury shall not be paid out except in the fulfillment of the purpose for which the trust was created or the funds received. So trust funds are special accounts ni siya. It often created for a specific purposes such as kanang mga disaster reliefs, donations, or grants. Using these funds for other thing is not only wrong, it is illegal. So dapat kung ang kanang special accounts kay dito rin siya sa specific purposes nga dapat mapadulong. This principle ensures that the trust of donors and citizens is not broken. Next is J. Fiscal responsibility shall be shared by all those exercising authority over the financial affairs, transaction, and operations of LGU. So budgeting is a shared responsibility. It's not just ang mayor's or ang treasurer's job. Every officials involved in financial decision must be accountable. Dili lang tong mga treasurers. This promotes a culture of cooperation, transparency, and ethical governance. K. Local revenue is generated only from sources expressly authorized by law or ordinances, and collection thereof shall at times be acknowledged properly. So LGUs cannot just impose random fees or collect unofficial payments. No, every revenue source must be authorized by law or ordinance. So, dapat na dyan na siya legal document nga ipakita. Also, collection must be properly receipted. No, kabantay mo usahay nga kanon di sila mahatag og receipt, no, dapat na adyo dapat receipt sila nga mahatag, and dapat recorded siya and dapat reported also. This protects both the public and the government from corruption and abuse because naa sila yung mga evidence nga na ipakita. Next is L. All monies officially received by a local government office in any capacity or on any occasion shall be accounted for as local funds unless otherwise provided by the law. So this means that nothing should go unreported. All financial transaction, no, whether large ba na siya or gamay or small ba na siya, regular ba na siya, or at one time, it must be declared and properly accounted for. This principle upholds transparency and auditability. Next, and lastly, is M. Every officer of LGU whose duties permit or require the possessions or custody of local fund shall be properly bonded, and officers shall be accountable and responsible for said funds and for the safekeeping thereof in conformity with the provision of law. So those who manage local funds must be bonded, meaning that they must carry insurance or security as a safeguard against loss or fraud. Now, this ensures that the officers are held legally and financially accountable for any mismanagement or theft. So, in summary, in Article 405, is more than just a list of rules. It is a blueprint of responsible governance. It teaches LGU to be strategic, legal, honest, and people-centered in the way they handled public money. So, as a student of a public administration and a future leaders of our communities, it is our duty to uphold these principles, and make sure that they are practiced, not just written here. With this, let's now move forward to Article 406. So before diving deeper into the technical process of a local budgeting, in Article 406, it provides us with the key terms that will guide our understanding. Knowing these terms is like learning the language of public finance. So let's break them down one by one. First is the annual budget. States here that annual budget refers to the financial plan embodying the estimate of income and expenditure for 1 year, 1 fiscal year. So ang annual budget is the local government financial blueprint for 1 fiscal year. It contains the estimated income or how much money will come in, and expenditure, how much money will be spent. So just like Mararashag family planning know how to use their salary for the year, the LGU uses the annual budget to plan its project, mga services within its financial means. Next, we have what we call appropriation. Appropriation refers to an authorization made by the ordinance directing the payment of goods and services from local government funds under specified conditions or for specific purposes. So, mayroon tag appropriation, it is a legal authority made through an ordinance, that allows the LGU to spend money for a particular purpose. It is like a giving permission to use a certain amount from the LGU's funds to pay for a specific goods or services through an ordinance na siya. So, like for example, like ang certain amount kay gamito nila for road repairs, salaries, or a disaster response. Ang ana mo na ang appropriation. Next is what we call budget document. It refers to the instrument used by the local chief executive to present a comprehensive financial plan to the sanggunian concerned. So, ang budget document kay mo na siya official file or instrument nga gi-prepare sa local chief executive like ang mayor or ang governor to present the LGU's financial plan to the sangguniang bayan or sangguniang panglusod or panlalawigan. It includes the detailed information about how much money is needed, and siya gikan and siya gastuon. So naka-stipulate na dito sa budget document. Next, we have capital outlay. It refers to appropriation for the purchase of goods and services, the benefits of which extend beyond the fiscal year and which add to the asset of the LGU concerned, including investment in public utilities such as a public market and slaughterhouses. So, ang capital outlays, no, it refers to budget items used to buy or build things that last for many years, not just a few months. So, muna siya yung mga items nga mo last for many years. These are a long-term investment like building a new public market, in buying government vehicles, or constructing roads. Now, these purchases are meant to add to the assets of the LGU. Next is continuing appropriation. It refers to an appropriation available to support obligation for a specific purpose or project, such as those for the construction of physical structure or for the acquisition of real property or equipment, even when these obligations are incurred beyond the budget year. So, mayroong continuing appropriation, it allows the LGU to use fund, no, for a certain project even beyond the current year, especially for mga big or mga long-term project, no, like mag-build sila health center or mag-acquire sila land. Even if the project isn't finished this year, so the LGU can still use the appropriated money in the coming years until the project is completed. Next is current operating expenditure. It refers to appropriation for the purchase of goods and services for the conduct of normal local government operation within the fiscal year, including goods and services that will be used or consumed during the budget year. So, minguntag current operating expenses, no? These are the daily or regular expenses nga needs the LGU to operate for the year. For example, mga magbayad og mga paying salaries sa ilang mga employees, or mga magpalit og mga office supplies, or magpay og electricity and water sa ilang office, no. These expenses are usually consumed or used up within the current budget year, unlike sa capital outlays nga kung giningain na kay long term siya. Next is expected result. It refers to services, products, or benefits that will occur to the public, estimated in terms of performance measures or physical targets. Ang expected result, no, it refers to the intended outcomes or goals of a project or outcome. Expect imong expect nga result. No, these are they are expressed in terms of measurable output, such as a number of students who receive scholarship, the kilometer of road completed, or the reduction in dengue cases, no. It's a way to measure performance and success. Kung more expected output bitaw ninyo, mo na siya expected result. Next, we have fund. It refers to a sum of money or other asset convertibly to cash, set aside for the purpose of carrying out specific activities or attaining certain objectives in accordance with special regulation, restriction, or limitation, and constitutes an independent fiscal and accounting entity. So, a fund is a specific amount of money set aside for a particular purpose. For example, a calamity fund, no, it used only during disaster. Murag kana nga fund ba kay na siya specific kanang purpose ko siya gastuon. So, funds are managed separately and must follow strict rules so that the money is used properly and not mixed with other accounts. Na siya estimated jud nga dito ra dapat siya gastuon. So, mao ang mga fund money, specific amount of money. Next is income. It refers to all revenues and receipts collected or received forming the gross accretions of funds of the LGU. So, when we say income, no, it is a total amount of money received, no, or collected by the LGU. Mo na siya ginatawag na income. This can come from taxes, diba? fees, charges, or business permits, or even donations. All of this money becomes part of the LGU's fund and is used to finance its operation and programs. Mo siya mga income. Next is obligation. It refers to an amount committed to be paid by the LGU for any lawful act made by an accountable officer for and in behalf of the LGU concerned. Ang obligation, it refers to the amount that the LGU has committed to pay for a project, services, or goods. No, it becomes a binding responsibility, meaning nga dapat ang LGU must pay for it. For example, if they nag-sign og contract ang LGU to build a bridge, no, the cost of that project becomes an obligation. So, mo nang obligation. Next is personal services. Refers to appropriation for the payment of salaries, wages, and other compensation of temporary, contractual, and casual employees of the LGU. Ang personal services or PS, no, it is a fund used to pay for human resources. No, this includes salaries, wages, bonuses, and allowances for regular, for it could be temporary ba siya nga employees, contractual ba siya, or casual employees ba siya sa LGU. No, this is one of the largest parts of any government budget because human workers are essential in delivering services. Next is received. Refers to income realized from the operations and activities of the LGU or are received by the LGU in the exercise of its corporate function, consisting of charges for services rendered, convenience furnished, or the price of commodity sold, as well as loans, contributions, or aids from other entities, except provisional advances for budgetary purposes. So the receipt, no, is a form of income, but they are more specific. No, these are the earning from the LGU's operation, like fees for health certificates, business permits, market stall rentals, or even income from LGU's own enterprises like public markets. So it also includes aids or contribution from other government bodies or private donors. Last term is what we call the revenues. It refers to income derived from the regular system of taxation enforced under the authority of law or ordinances, and as such accrued more or less regular every year. So the revenue, no, is a regular and more predictable type of income. They mainly come from taxes or fees that are collected every year under the laws or ordinances. For example, a real property taxes, business tax, and community tax are all types of revenue. This is most stable source of income for LGUs kay every year naadjay dapat collection ani. So understanding this definition, no, is important because they are the building blocks of budget preparation, approval, and implementation. So dapat ang each terms kay mabalaan na to kung unsa ang mga meaning ana because it plays a vital role in ensuring that the local government finances are used properly, strategically, and responsibly. So now let's move on to Article 407, the composition. So it outlines two essential components of the local budget. So these components are necessary to ensure that the local government unit can plan its financial operation efficiently and responsibly. So we have here the estimates of income. So may yung tag estimates of income, no, it refers to the projected or expected revenue. So ang mga estimation nimo sa income, mga projected estimations that the LGU believes it will collect during the upcoming fiscal year. This estimate are based on the past and the current revenue performance. So mag-base sila dito and also mga gina-anticipate nga economic activities. So gina-appeal nila kay nag-expect sila nga ma-collect na nila within that fiscal year. And also existing laws or ordinances authorizing revenue collections. So income estimate, no, may come from local taxes, fees and charges, IRA, NTA na day, ERA, NTA na karon, which is national tax allotment, grants or aids from the national government agency or a private donors. So this income estimate serve as the financial foundation of the LGU's budget. Now we have the total appropriation covering the current operating expenditures and capital outlays. Now, this part covers the expenditure or the planned spending of the LGU. It is divided into two major categories. First is ang current operating expenditure or ginatawag natin COE. These are the day-to-day expenses required for the regular functioning of the LG. Example, salaries and wages, utilities, office supplies, maintenance of government buildings and vehicles. So next nga categories is what we call capital outlays. These are the expenses for a long-term investment that adds to the LGU's asset, like atong mag-construct og roads ba or public market ba sa mga long-term nga mga investment. So the appropriation means that the funds are legally set aside from a specific purposes na usually specific purposes nga dito ra jud sila, and no money can be spent unless they is in official budget allocation for it. So we are now in Article 408, which is form and content. So the Article 408 now discusses the form and content of the local government budget document, which is more than just a financial report. It serves as a strategic guide reflecting the LGU's priorities for the upcoming fiscal year. So the budget document must contain a budget message from local chief executive such as mayor or governor. Ang kaning message ga-provide siya og a brief but a meaningful overview of the significance of the proposed executive budget. It highlights how the budget aligns with and supports the approved local development plan, ensuring that the financial resources are directed towards priority programs and community needs. Second, we have here the budget should include a summary of the functions, project, and activities planned by the LGU. These are framed within the goals and objectives for the coming year, particularly focusing on delivering basic services and facilities as listed under the local government codes implementing rules. This section helps show how budget allocation are connected to the actual governance and service delivery, such as the health services, education, infrastructure, environmental protection, and livelihood program. Third, the document must include a comprehensive set of financial summaries. Now, this financial statement aims to provide a full picture of the LGU's fiscal health and are divided into several key components. First, the actual income and expenditures from the previous year, which help in evaluating fiscal performance. The actual income and expenses for the first two quarters of the current fiscal year and the estimated figures for the remaining two quarters, giving an overview of a current budget execution. Third, the projected income for the upcoming fiscal year based on existing revenue generating ordinances and laws, along with proposed measure to enhance income generation. Fourth, the estimate expenditure required to fulfill planned projects and services. Fifth, information on any long-term debt and obligations such as loans and bonds, which is critical for assessing financial sustainability. Six, a summary of statutory and contractual obligation due for payment, ensuring that all legal and contractual responsibilities are fulfilled. And lastly, we have number 7, other relevant financial statement or data necessary to clearly present the LGU's overall financial condition. These details enable the Sanggunian or the local legislative council and the public to review and understand how public funds are being managed and allocated. So we are now in Article 409, which is internal revenue allotment and shares in the utilization of national wealth. So in Article 409, it ensures that the LGU are informed ahead of time about the national resources they are entitled to, so they can plan their budget responsibly. So it states that the Department of Budget and Management or the DBM, along with other concerned national government agencies and government-owned and controlled corporations, must provide LGUs with the necessary information on their ERA or the NTA. So and their shares in the proceeds from the development and utilization of the national wealth, such as mining or power project. So this information must be given no later than June 15 of each year. It ensures that the LGU can include accurate and reliable figures in their proposed budget, helping them maintain transparency, proper planning, and alignment with the national guidelines. Article 410, Submission of Local Development Plan. So the Article 410 emphasizes the critical role of the LDC or the Local Development Council in the budget preparation process. It requires the LDC to submit a copy of their local development plan and the annual investment program to the Local Finance Committee. So dapat magsubmit yun sila ang LDC na council. So this must be done within the fiscal year but before the official start of the budget preparation calendar. So the development plan outlines the strategic goals and priorities of the LGU for the upcoming year, while the investment program details the specific project or activities nga naga-require of funding. These documents are crucial as they help guide the budgetary decision and ensures that the LGU's developed priorities are properly reflected in the proposed budget. The Local Finance Committee uses the Local Development Plan to verify all proposed projects, particularly those that are intended to be funded by the LGU itself, are included in the final budget. So this ensures that there is a clear alignment between the local government's development goals and the available financial resources. In addition to the local planning documents, national government agencies and the GOCC are also required to provide LGU with detailed information about projects that are already funded or are in progress under their respective budgets. This information, which includes the name of the project, its location, the sources of funding, and the funding level, is essential for the Local Finance Committee to avoid duplicating efforts or funding the same project multiple times. So to ensure transparency and coordination, this information must be made available to the Local Finance Committee within the first quarter of the year. By doing so, the local government can plan its budget more effectively, reducing the risk of redundancy and ensuring that the project receive the proper funding from the appropriate sources. Kaning Article 410 underscores the importance of coordination between the local government and the national entities to achieve efficient budget management and project implementation, ultimately ensuring that the resources are used effectively for the benefit of the public. We will now proceed to Article 411, which is submission of detailed statement of income and expenditure. So the Article 411 requires the local treasurers to submit detailed financial statement to their respective local chief executive to ensure transparency and proper financial oversight within the local government. Ang kaninga statement must be submitted on or before the 15th day of July each year. The statement of income and expenditure should cover several key financial aspects: the actual income and expenditure for the preceding fiscal years, and also the actual figure for the first 2 quarters of the current fiscal years, and estimate for the last 2 quarters of the current year. This comprehensive document ensures that the local chief executive has a up-to-date and accurate view of the LGU's financial status and helps inform the decision makers process for the upcoming budget. The local treasurer and the local accountant must jointly certify this financial statement, reinforcing accountability and accuracy in the reporting of financial transaction. This certification ensures that the figure provided are accurate, reliable, and in line with the financial records of the LGU. By requiring this certification, the local government guarantees that the reported income and expenditure reflect the true financial health of the LGU, which is very crucial for making informed decision during the budget preparation and allocation of fund for the coming year. The requirement is designed to foster financial transparency and accountability, giving both the local chief executive and the public confidence that public funds are being managed properly and efficiently. It also ensures that any discrepancies or inconsistencies in financial records can be addressed promptly, contributing to a better governance and a public trust in management of local government resources. We are now in Article 412, Local Finance Committee. So sa Article 412 of the Local Government Code outlines the creation and the responsibilities of the Local Finance Committee, which is crucial in ensuring that the proper management of financial resources within the local government units. So the Local Finance Committee is composed of 3 key officials. We have what we call the Local Planning and Development Coordinator, the Local Budget Officer, and the Local Treasurer. So, muna siya yung mga 3 officials sa LFC. These individuals, with their expertise in planning, in budgeting, and financial management, form the core of the committee tasked with overseeing the LGU's financial operations and ensuring that the local budget is prepared in accordance with development plans and statutory requirements. So, we have here the responsibilities. First is income projection. So one of the primary responsibilities of the local finance committee is to determine the income that is reasonably projected to be collected during the upcoming fiscal year. This involves estimating revenue sources that are available to the LGU, such as mga taxes, fees, grants, and other local revenues. The committee reviews the economic condition, historical revenue data, and trends to make an informed projection of how much the LGU can expect to collect. Accurate income projections are crucial for formulating a balanced and realistic budget. Next is revenue measures and borrowing recommendations. So in addition to projecting income, ang committee sad mag-recommend og appropriate tax measures over revenue raising strategies or borrowing that may be necessary to support the budget, if the projected income is insufficient or not enough to meet the needs of the LGU, ang LFC or ang kanang mga individuals magpropose na sila bago nga revenue generating strategies, such as mag-adjust sila tax rates, di ba? Mong makabantay mo taas-taas ang mga tax kay like dili enough ang kanang fund nga ilahang makolek para mo ma-meet ang needs sa LGUs. And mag-introduce po na sila mga bagong fees, di ba? Karon kay like daghan mga fees, daghan na pang barayo nun, or mag-loan sila or mag-credits to cover the shortfalls. This ensures that the LGU can maintain financial solvency while funding its project and services. Next is expenditure recommendation. So the LFC advises the local chief executive on the appropriate level of annual expenditure required for the delivery of services. This includes establishing spending ceilings for different sectors such as an economic development, social services, and general public services. The committee ensures that expenditure recommendations are based on the approved local development plans. So dapat na-add dito, nakastipulate sa plan nila, ensuring that the budget is aligned with the long-term development goals and objectives, of course. So by setting clear limits on spending, the LFC helps prevent budget overruns and ensures that the public funds are allocated. Next is expenditure allocation between operating costs and capital outlays. So the LFC is tasked with recommending how the LGU should allocate its expenditure between current operating expenditure and capital outlays. The current operating expenditures muna ng day-to-day expenses that is necessary for the normal functioning of the LGUs, while ang capital outlays nagingon na kanina muna yung mga funds allocated for investment in a long-term assets. So the committee ensures a balanced approach which sufficient funds are allocated for both short-term operations and long-term development. So let's move on to letter E, capital outlay recommendation for infrastructure project. So a significant part of the LGU's budget is dedicated to capital outlays, which are used for infrastructure development and the acquisition of the long-term assets. So the LFC plays a critical role in determining how much of the budget should be allocated to capital outlays for each developing activities or infrastructure project. Next is assistance in reviewing and evaluating other LGU's budget. So the local finance committee also assists the Sangguniang Panlalawigan in a provincial legislative body or Sangguniang Bayan in municipal legislative body in reviewing and evaluating the budget for component cities and municipalities. This is particularly important in cases where the provincial finance committee must review budget for cities and municipalities within the province. Similarly, in cities and municipalities, the local finance committees review the budget of the barangay. So the LFC ensures that all the budget are in compliance with the approved local development plans and that they reflect realistic and necessary financial allocation. We are now in letter G, budget compliance and legal requirements. So the LFC also assists the Sanggunian or the local legislative body in ensuring that the proposed budget comply with the statutory and administrative requirement. This involves analyzing whether the budget meet legal guidelines such as compliance with the LGC, of course, the budgetary regulations and policies set by the national government agencies. By ensuring the budget are legally sound, the LFC helps prevent potential legal disputes and ensures that the LGU operates within the bounds of the law. Lastly, we have semi-annual review and performance monitoring. So the LFC is responsible for conducting a semi-annual review and general examination of the cost and the accomplishment of development project. This review compares the actual costs and the outcomes of the projects with the performance standards that were initially set during the planning phase. This allows the LFC to assess whether projects are progressing as planned, staying within the budget, and achieving their intended goals. Based on this review, the committee prepares a report that includes recommendation for improvements or adjustment. This report is then shared sa local chief executive and the Sanggunian, ensuring transparency and accountability. The report is also made available to the public by posting it in conspicuous and public accessible places within the LGC. This helps keep the community informed about the financial status of the LGU and the progress of ongoing development projects. So the LFC or the local finance committee it really plays a vital role in ensuring that the financial operation of the LGU are transparent, accountable, and aligned with the LDG or the local development goals. Through its work, the LFC helps the LGU make informed decisions about income generation, expenditure allocation, and project funding. It ensures that the public funds are used efficiently and effectively to promote the welfare of the community. Let's move on to Article 413, Submission of Budget Proposal by Heads of Officers or Departments. So the Article 413 of the LGC mandates the submission of budget proposal by the heads of offices or department in LGU. So the following point break down the requirement and procedure outlined in the article. So A, we have submission deadline and responsibilities. So each head of office or department within the LGU is required to submit their budget proposal to the local chief executive by July 15 of each year. This proposal outlines the financial needs of the respective department or offices, categorizing the budget under one of three services categories: economic services, social services, or general services. The importance of categorizing the budget ensures that the services offered by the department align sa overall goals of the LG's development plan and the financial capacity of the local government. B is the categorization and funding priorities. So this article emphasizes that basic services and facilities should be funded primarily through the LGU's share in national tax proceeds and local revenues, as well as any funding support from the national government or its government-owned and controlled corporations that are designated by law to establish or maintain such services. The budget prioritizes funding for basic services as defined under the Rule 5 of the rules. So if there are funds or resources available, they must first be allocated to basic services or facilities before being applied to other budgetary needs unless specifically provided for in other rules. This approach ensures that essential services are adequately funded before any additional projects or expenditures are considered. Next is adherence to guidelines. So the budget proposal must be prepared in accordance with policies and programs guidelines that the local chief executive may issue. These guidelines should align with the local development plan, which outlines the long-term development objectives of the LGU. Additionally, the budget proposal must conform to the budgetary ceilings set by the local finance committee, ensuring that the proposal is within the available financial resources. Moreover, the proposal must adhere to any other budgetary requirements and limitations as stipulated in the rules. So the budget the budget proposal of offices or departments shall be divided into parts, which is the current operating expenditures and capital outlays. Kabalo naman mo kung unsa ni. So let's proceed to E, the detailed informations in the budget proposals. The budget proposal must contain several key pieces of information to provide a comprehensive view of the financial needs and priorities of the department or office. It includes the following. First is the objective, functions, and projects. A description of the main activities and goals of the office or department, their significance, and the associated costs. Now, this helps to clarify the work to be accomplished and its alignment with the LGU's priorities. Next is organization charts and staffing patterns. This includes a list of positions known as what we call plantilla position within the department. Their corresponding salaries, makastipulate there, and any proposal for reclassification or creation of new positions. Proper justification must be provided for these staffing requests, ensuring that the proposed position are necessary for the effective delivery of services. Next, or ika-3 kay ang description of functions, project, and activities. A brief overview of the functions, the projects, and activities to be undertaken in the coming fiscal year. This should include the expected result, the nature of the work to be performed, and the specific expenditure required for each project or activities. Next, or 4 is relation to local development plan. The budget proposal must demonstrate how the proposed activities aligned with the approved local development plan, which sets the strategic direction for the LGU's growth and priorities. 5. Comparative financial data. So the proposal should include estimated current operating expenditures and the capital outlays, with comparative data for the last 2 fiscal years, as well as the current and upcoming fiscal years. Kani makahelp na siya to track trends in spending and ensures that the financial requests are reasonable and in line with past practices. And lastly is the accomplishment reports. The proposal must include reports of the accomplishment of the department for the past 2 fiscal years, showing how resources were utilized and whether objectives were met. So this provides accountability and helps justify future budgetary requests. F. Budget proposal of the Sanggunian. So the Sanggunian, or the local legislative body, is also required to submit its own budget proposal following the same procedure as the other department nga katong gi-mention ako kanina. So this ensures that the legislative body, which plays a key role in reviewing and passing the budget, has a clear understanding of its own financial requirement and can align its budget with those of the executive department. So in Article 413, it emphasizes the importance of transparency, accountability, and strategic planning in LGU's budgeting requirements or process. It ensures that the budget proposals are submitted on time, categorized appropriately, and include detailed information to justify the financial request. The alignment with the local development plan and the prioritization of basic services ensures that the resources are useful to meet the needs of the local population, promote growth, and improve service delivery. We are now in Article 414, Preparation of Executive Budget. So the Article 414 outlines the process for the preparation of the executive budget in the LGU. It highlights the responsibilities of the local chief executive and the timeline for budget submission to the Sangguniang. So First is the preparation of the executive budget. So after no receiving the necessary document from various sources, the local chief executive, the mayor or the governor is responsible for preparing the executive budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Ang mga document no mo ni mao ni sila ang income and expenditure statement from the local treasuries, budget proposal from the heads of offices or department, estimates of income and budgetary ceilings provided by the local finance committee. So the local chief executive uses this document to create a comprehensive executive budget that reflects the LGU's priority and the financial capacity. The budget is designed to meet the development goals of the LGU while ensuring that the funds are allocated efficiently across different services and programs. So once the executive budget has been prepared, if nahuman na siya, it must be submitted to the sanggunian or the local legislative body for review. So the deadline for submission is set for October 16, October 16 of the current fiscal year. This ensures that the sanggunian has a ample time to analyze, to discuss, and make any necessary revisions to the budget before it is finalized for the next fiscal years. So if the local chief executive fails to submit the executive budget by the prescribed deadline, which is October 16, they may face both criminal and administrative penalties. So na penalties if dili makasubmit on time ang LCE or the local chief executive, whether mayor or ang governor. So these penalties serve as a means to ensure discipline and ensures that the budgetary process is followed on time. Timely submission of the budget is crucial for the sanggunian to carry out its duty for reviewing and approving the budget, which is essential for efficient functioning of the LGU. So this article emphasizes the importance of timely and accurate budget preparations and submissions to ensure that the local government operations are adequately funded and aligned with the development goals of the community. So that concludes my part of the presentation. So to continue with our discussion and cover the remaining articles, let's have Ms. Makilan, who will be reporting on the next set of articles. Thank you so much for listening.